Welcome back to Houselights, your one-stop shop for everything you need to hear about this week in the world of entertainment. As always, I'm your host Liz Noss, and I will flub up the intro. And I'm with my other host,
Claire Donahoe,
who's just done her civic duty.
Yes.
She voted.
I voted earlier today, everyone.
And we are joined by our wonderful, wonderful guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Reza Gupta.
And you, what do you do here at the St. News?
I work under Claire. I'm a copy editor.
How is it working under Claire first? Let's just go ahead and put that on camera.
I like it when you show up.
Okay.
Whoa.
I was out of office for a couple weeks there.
And she was late today.
Okay, well, continue answering carefully because
But yeah,
we love copy desk.
Obviously, she was late today because she was performing her civic duty. She was
you.
voting.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's super important. And so today, we're going to talk about politics. Not like that. Like, it's going to be super unbiased. And we're going to talk about...
And funny. Because tonight is the election and nobody wants to think about the unfunny side of politics, which is everything else.
Right. So we're just going to focus on the fake politics. Specifically, politics in popular media.
Boom.
Pop culture, if you would. And so, you know, we brought on Reza, who just, she knows a lot. She knows a lot about the popular media on politics. And
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Oh, no. I think
Here
it's a
it is.
compliment.
Yes,
Here
it
it is.
absolutely
Okay.
is.
With the nerds in this podcast room, it absolutely is.
Absolutely is.
Because, like, one of my, I just read a lot of books about politics. I didn't mean for it to sound like that when I started saying that, but I mean, I do. And so I also,
But it's true.
and I also watch a lot of TV and movies about politics. So let's talk about it. And the number one thing that me and Reza, and now Claire, I've introduced to
Yes.
her to, is our love for Veep.
Yes.
And that is the show with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She is the vice president, and I think that a lot of people are like returning to the show recently because there's a lot of, I don't know whether it's like insinuated or fake like implications, but like a lot of people are connecting like her and like Kamala Harris.
Yeah, no, I see a lot of comparisons of Kamala's like campaign to what Selena Meyer, which is Julia's character in the show, like things that are happening then, especially as like election results are coming out. They're like pulling out episode clips and being like, oh my god, this is so Veep coded.
Yeah, and I mean, that's actually really scary that people are saying that about the election results, because in
Right.
Veep, spoiler alert, guys, in Veep, when she's running for president, she, like, has to go through, like, a tiebreaker and, like, a runoff election. So let's, like, maybe not put that, like, into the air that we're gonna have, like, an election that goes, like, either way, that goes until, like, January.
This is supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about that.
No, but, like, Twitter has been going crazy.
I can't look at Twitter
I
today.
can't either.
No.
I don't even have a Twitter,
But
for this reason.
But the best part of having Twitter is, like, there'll be, like, an actual, like, real tweet from a politician, and then on top of it will be, like, a clip from, like, No Context Veep, or, like,
Yeah.
a clip from No Context West Wing, and that's just, like, my favorite thing in the world. So, but yeah, I think that with Veep, it, like, pulls, I think it's actually a lot like reality of politics, and I wanted to get your sort of thought. But actually, first, I want to ask Claire what she thought of the one episode that I sent her.
Yes. So, just
I'll tell you
being
which
candid,
one.
I watched one episode of Veep earlier
season
today.
1, episode 8,
Yes. Tears. I thought it was wonderful. I laughed out loud many times. It felt like, I told Liz, like the Arrested Development of politics,
That's a really
and
good point.
that is maybe also because there is a character from Arrested Development in the show. But
Yes.
either way, yes, I think. Funnily enough, I was recommended Veep a couple of months ago, and then I just never got around to watching it. But now I absolutely will be, like, starting from the beginning and
good.
watching through. Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
just so everyone knows. I thought it was really interesting from what I could tell in the 30 minutes that I did see of how they portrayed like the tears. I mean, like her emotions, and like she would get on stage and tear up and they'd be like, not again. Like, she's not supposed to do this. Like the orchestration of like her, is that a word? Orchestra?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Totally is.
Of like her emotions was really interesting. Like they were all planning whether or not she would cry at her campaign or whether or not she would break down even in like a private meeting with like the the governor, I think.
Yeah.
And she was in Ohio, which just was emotional for many reasons,
because you're in Ohio.
you'd be exhausted campaigning in Ohio just in general. I don't know. I thought it was really funny. And I thought the back and forth, how everyone kept a straight face. I mean, I guess that's why I kind of thought it was like Arrested Development, like or even The Office, or just something without the laugh track, I guess. Just the like quick banter, and then the scene would just cut.
Oh,
and I feel like, I don't know. It's a good watch, everyone.
It's a good watch.
I'm saying this on 30 minutes, so I can't wait to see how I feel after an hour.
After 7
or
seasons.
like a season of it, really.
No, I started Veep probably like towards the end of sophomore year, and then I like moved to Grand Rapids for the summer for an internship, and like I pretty much like lived alone for a whole summer. And so like every night and every morning, like before I went to work, I would just sit down and like watch Veep, and like while I was getting ready I would
That's
like
a crazy way to
watch
start your day.
start and end, by the way. Yeah, it's like a bookend.
This is like formative.
And it's
the show is formative for
This
you.
show is very formative for me. It's my number 2 favorite show of all time. And we'll get to my number 1.
Oh.
Which we are also talking about today.
You really do love
I really do love
shows.
political shows. There's something about like the intersection for me of like comedy and politics, because like I normally love like a sitcom sort of based show. Like I love my number 1 show, which we'll talk about, which is Parks and Rec. I love like Modern Family, like the first couple seasons. How I Met Your Mother is one of my favorites. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys have watched It's Always Sunny.
No, but
I've seen clips,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I just feel like they're very similar as to like, this is gonna sound bad, but like all the Veep characters are just like terrible people, and so are like all the characters in It's Always Sunny. And like I just find that really like funny. Like I find like watching like characters who are just like awful people, unreliable narrator type stories, and it's like it's really funny.
I get that. Like I've actually watched Veep relatively recently. I think I started in like September and then I ended mid-October. But I've been watching The Sopranos, which like you wouldn't think to like compare the two, but I mean they're all in the mafia. They all suck, you know, like they kill people. And then Veep, it's, you know, different, but having them all be terrible people who know how to have quick wit, like that's fun.
Yeah, no, the banter is like really, really quick in it, and like the dialogue is really quick, and that's why I really, really like about it. And then also just like, do you think that's how politics is? I guess that's like what, like every show, I feel like that's why I wanted to have this like podcast episode, because it's like there's so many depictions of politics and in like different ways, but like specifically in like Veep and Parks and Rec, it's like very much like, oh, like politics is a mess. All the people in it are always making the wrong decisions. All like everybody's really insecure in politics. I'm like, do you think that's true? Super loaded question, but
I think, yeah. I mean, I feel like, like we talked about with the Veep episode that you watched, Claire, like everything seemed very orchestrated. Like there's so much effort put into like preserving that image that like I would think have to be like a little stupid to think like, okay, like maybe Kamala is yelling at like a staff member, like being like, where are the polls, you know, like what's happening. And I think the benefit of having those shows is you get to actually like see behind the curtain a little bit. And I know that politicians have actually like watched Veep and been like, that's actually way too accurate, like I cannot be continuing the show.
Yeah, especially like DC staffers on Twitter are really funny about it.
Yeah.
Because they'll like quote tweet stuff with like reactions like from Veep and be like, this is literally my office right now. And that's like really scary, because like that makes me feel like there's a lot of offices that just are like not run well at all then. And I'm like, oh god, like
oh god.
Our
Yeah.
entire
So stressful.
country run by like Mike McClintock.
oh my god, no, literally. But like I think that's how it actually is. But then I look at a show like Parks and Rec, which I also love, but for like different all those characters like good, and they all just like want the best for their like local government. And I feel like that is maybe a difference between like local and like national politics, because like on a local level you really do have to have like that like passion for small government, like small scale things. But there's also like a really funny comparison in that show where they'll like they'll do scenes where they have community meetings, and it's just people like absolutely like tearing apart the smallest little things about their government. And I think that is also pretty accurate.
Yeah.
When it comes to community engagement, like.
I'm gonna say I feel like, from my understanding, I don't know, but a political journalist was who recommended Veep to me, and he was like, "This is the most accurate it's gonna get. Like, you should watch the show because I feel truly like it's accurate." And I was like, "Okay, good to know."
Yeah.
So you had to have someone in the field say that. I was like, "Okay." I'm gonna guess that maybe the banter isn't always as spot on, but the chaos or like kind of like orchestrating things is like. I don't know. It felt almost like in the episode I watched, it felt like she was kind of a like puppet for a bit. Like as she's walking, they're running up to her, telling her what to say, telling her endorse, don't endorse, back and forth. And you just realize like she never made the decision. She's just emotionally exhausted, and that's why she's crying on stage 3 times. But I think that seems to be what's probably most accurate. I'm sure there's banter, and I'm sure people. Hopefully funny where they work.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's also, like, when we look at other depictions, which I want to get into, like, House of Cards and stuff, and, like, that's, like, that show is very, very dark about politics. It's, like, everybody's corrupt. By the way, House of Cards, probably one of the worst depictions of political journalists that I've ever seen. Like, there's, like
negative about them?
Like, negative about them in a way that, like, there's one lady political journalist that just, like, is totally corrupt, like, is, like, sleeping with Kevin Spacey's character to, like, get all her information. And it's like, well, that certainly can't be, like, like, maybe, like, a couple, like, national journalists.
But don't
like,
paint that picture.
But, like, don't paint that picture of just, like, lady political journalist with ambition.
Lady political journalist.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep calling her lady. Like, I don't know. Like,
madam. Yeah.
Yeah, this madam political journalist.
But you're right.
And it's just kind of messed up. But I think that, like, that show is, like, like, these people that are, like, the main guy, he's, like, a swing voter for, Congress, right? And he's, like, killing people to, like, get what, like, he, like, end of season 1, he, like, kills...
A lot of spoilers.
Like, another congressman or whatever because he wasn't, like, falling in line with, like, getting this guy to the presidency or like endorsing people. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I feel like that's like another side of extreme of like what politics isn't, because I don't know if it's like, I would rather have like that funny sort of they're awful people depiction of politics, which like people like seem to connect with, than like this scary, corrupt, other extreme.
Like this evil.
Like this
almost.
evil. And I feel like that is probably a little bit more dramatized than...
I also feel like when they're going the evil route when it comes to political, like, pop media, it's either like, okay, these people are killing everyone and they're, like, horrible, nasty people, or it's like they're genuinely just soulless. Like, have you guys watched The Politician?
So please explain to us The Politician.
Yeah.
It was funny, off mic, me and Reza were talking, and you were explaining to me that it's with Ben Platt, and I was like, oh, I know this, and then I realized that in middle school I probably just listened to the original soundtrack.
Of, like, Dear Evan Hansen.
Of, like, Dear Evan Hansen and stuff.
Okay. Well, he's still playing a high schooler in this one.
Of course, Ben Platt certainly does do those things.
Yeah. It basically starts with this one guy who's, like, obsessed with the idea of becoming president, and he's, like, tracked them all, I think, till Nixon, which he considers to have invented, like, the modern presidency. And he's like, okay, I need to go to Harvard, I need to join these clubs, I need to go to this school, and, like, I need to, like, follow this exact life plan. And then it, like, derails, and then he goes crazy because he's like, I need to win student body president in order to get into Harvard. And then, I don't know, you see him, like, go through a VP pick where he's like, which minority vote matters the most? Do I need to care about the Haitian vote in my, like, California public school? Like, it's that kind of ridiculous. Yeah. And you see him, like, speaking to people, and it's very obvious that he's only motivated through his, like, political, you know, aspirations versus, like, oh, I'm trying to help people. He just wants, like, the title of president. Yeah.
No, I think that kind of, like, leans on the idea of, like, Veep, because I feel like in Veep they have a lot of those, like, conversations of, like, you know, I was watching one last night, so I was feeling very anxious about the election last night, and so I wanted to watch something political because, like, without it being the news, while I was, like,
anything but the news right now.
So I just, like, but I needed, like, background noise while I was doing my work, and so I put on Veep. And obviously, and like in this episode, she's about to announce, like, spoiler alert, Claire, she's about to announce her presidency. And close your ear. You had headphones. And she has to pick between, like, putting this children's choir first in the line, or like this mom who's fighting for universal childcare, and she has to, like, pick who she's putting, like, next to her, like, on the podium, like, based on how important the issue is. And it's just, like, really soulless, and, like, but, like, they do it in such a funny way. But I think there is probably an intersection of, like, oh, like, that's probably true and it probably isn't funny all the time. But, like,
it gave me, like, that gives me even a little more, I don't know if the word is sympathy, but I guess, I don't know, having all these people kind of tell you what you have to say, and then you're the one that has to do it, or she has to make the call to put, you know, she's the deciding factor, technically. Like, that's what the public sees of who she puts next to her on the podium. That almost gives me a little bit more sympathy. I want to say, like, sympathy for politicians.
Wait, no, but I get that.
But I get what you're
like,
saying, yeah.
I guess, once again, the lone episode that I watched, I'm like, I said out loud in my living room, I would never want to do this job. I don't care how passionate I was or how deeply I loved, like, the political world or truly genuinely cared about making change. To have all those people coming at you, all these angles, always reading something, always trying to figure out what's going on, and then you're just, like, I don't know, like, the right language for this, but you're, like, the vessel that just has to kind of say it and be, like, the face of it. That would be so... No wonder she cried 3 times in the episode I watched, and no wonder it'd be stressful to...
I could never be a politician.
No.
I'm so... Yeah.
No, and I think in, like, all of these shows, like, it's very, like, very much, like, I would not want to be a politician by the way that it is.
The decision was made very quickly. Yeah.
Right, except for, and have you guys watched West Wing?
No.
Except for West Wing, which is Aaron Sorkin's, just, it's magnificent. And, you know, he stops, like, season 4, and then it gets a little bit worse, but... You know, you gotta keep up, because it's just a great show. It's so long. It's taken me a full year to watch it. I'm down to the last 2 episodes, and so I'm gonna finish it this week as election comes in. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like fun that's when I'm, like, finishing it. It's thematic.
Making the election fun this year.
Making the election fun this year. That's what Houselights is all about. Am I right, ladies?
So true.
But anyways. Like, that show, like, really portrays politicians as, like, superheroes. And not even, like, politicians, because, like, obviously the president is, like, a very noble guy in this show. But like, really the staffers.
The team
like,
around,
the team around them is, like, really, like, all superheroes. They have to, like, run everything all the time. And I do believe that. Like, that staffers probably are the ones that are, like, always
rowing the boat.
But, like, it really... puts, like, a spotlight and, like, rose-colored glasses on politics, because everything ends up so well, like, for them all the time.
Good.
They're always, for some reason, like, Jed Bartlett is, like, the most liberal president, and he has 0 pushback on any of his things, and it's like, this is a fake America.
Someone had a really great dream one night, and they woke up and they're like, let's design this.
Right.
This.
Or like that Aaron Sorkin just did a lot of coke. But that's beside the point.
Either way, a beautiful imagined reality came from it. So
exactly. And, like, also, like, insane. Oh my gosh, you have to, because it's like,
what's it on?
Hulu? No.
No.
HBO Max. No, sorry, I had to catch myself. But not sponsored by HBO Max. But yeah, West Wing's really good if you want to feel good about politics.
Yeah,
or stress.
I would love to feel good about politics, so I think I will.
You know, because I was gonna ask, like, when you were saying, like, watching the political shows besides West Wing, like, makes you feel depressed, if that was the same for, like, other workplace, like, comedy or media, like, if you think about, like, Grey's Anatomy, which is honestly not the best example, but it's all I can think of.
It is technically a workplace, yeah. I don't know, because, like, The Office doesn't make me feel, like, depressed or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't really feel much when I watch The Office.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, guys, I don't like The Office.
I don't have an emotion. I can't even laugh, to be honest, most of the time.
Wait, just, like, in general, or, like,
No, when I'm watching The Office,
I'm like, whoa,
I'm
girl,
just like,
do you wanna
okay, he
talk?
said that. Sometimes the cuts are funny, but I prefer, I think, the quick like banter, like Veep.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm the exact same way. But I don't know. What was your question?
I was saying, if
Does it make you sad?
Like, do you think it's just like it being like political workplace media that
I
makes
think
you
it's-
depressed, or just,
It must be, because I think it's just like a lot of them are just so close to our reality, and there's so many characters that they portray as like comically bad at their jobs, and it's like they're the ones that are like making decisions, and it's like that's funny. You guys are funny,
But also, this is
but
what
it's not.
I want to do professionally.
Right, I want to cover this professionally and to know that like all of this is going on behind the
Or at least
scenes.
some of it, yeah.
Or at least some of it, like that, like other, not people killing people. I
Well,
really
no.
don't think
Let's
that's
hope.
a thing.
Do you think you'd be like the Leon West of Veep?
Dude, that'd be so sick. I like to think of myself as more of the Danny from West Wing. But no, that's actually one of the. This is a point that I will make.
Okay.
All of these political shows paint journalists to be like pretty bad.
Right.
Not just like bad, but just like they don't like as incompetent or like flirting with their sources. Like
Or just, like,
Danny in the
leeches.
West Wing and the chief of like staff of the White House are like having low key an affair. Like, and like they're like friends, but they're like friends with benefits. And I'm like, guys, I don't think that happens all that often. Or maybe I'm just a naive little baby. Am I right? Anyways.
I don't have an answer
I'm
for
not
you.
doing that.
I have
on that.
no idea what to say to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I will say that's one thing about the political shows that I don't love.
Maybe it's someone. See, I just, once again, I want to know how these shows came to be. Is it someone. Like, I think about this with the show Suits. I'm watching Suits. And I think about.
Never watched it.
I'm like, did the writer of this show, like, was his roommate in college pre-law? And he was just like, I'm turning this into a show, and I'm using all the good and also bad stuff you say about it. Or I'm like, like the jokes I make in Suits are to mock you type of thing. Maybe it's not directed at one guy, and I'm sure the
It's
guy
just
who
like
wrote
this
Suits
one
just
guy
loves the
he
law.
like really
No,
hates.
wait.
But with political shows, like, it just makes me wonder, did the writers of these shows, did they work in a place like this and they quit? You know, like, let me turn to screenplay writing and write this show. I just want to know.
It
Like,
kind of reminds me of, you know, that one scandal, I think it came out in like 2018, about this Grey's Anatomy like scriptwriter who's faking cancer and a bunch of other illnesses, and then she put that stuff in the show, and she's like, no, like, I'm going through it, so I know what it's like. And so she made a bunch of characters she had personal beef with, like, go through this horrible trauma
What?
that she just made up. Just like, she was like, yeah, no, I have chemo. She didn't have chemo, she had Pilates.
That's insane.
a writer on Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah. That's, like, why all that, like, crazy stuff happens, like, in the middle. I don't know what the middle of that show is, actually, but, like...
I don't either, but wow, I did not know that.
No,
You don't need to have
you can just write a
medical
show.
history to, yeah, you don't, and you certainly don't need to lie about
Yeah,
it.
what?
Like, I don't care
No, 'cause
if
I
you're a
read-
doctor writing Grey's Anatomy. I don't
Or
know
if
how
you're
you're
just,
getting
like-
that information. I'm
like a
sure you're asking
romance
Like,
doctors.
WebMD
Yeah.
it. WebMD it. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
I trust you. I don't
Or
know
like,
what that's
do
about.
you have a doctor best friend who you're consulting while writing the episodes? I don't know what your method is, but you don't need to lie about being. That's so weird.
I know.
Going back to like the
That's
politics
super
thing, I think like specifically we were talking about, also we want to talk about Succession, specifically
Oh,
like
yeah.
the America Decides
Yeah.
episode. That is like based on like real material. That's like based on the Murdoch family and like Fox News and stuff like that. So, and I'm reading a book right now about Fox News. Anyways, but because I don't know if you know, I read political books. So,
What's that movie? Bombshell?
Bombshell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you two watch that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I watched
Sorry to
Bombshell.
quickly derail. Okay.
Oh yeah, I like that. Well, me and you, we were just talking about like all the journalism movies that we watched too.
I didn't watch Bombshell yet, but I did watch She Said, which I really liked. That's not necessarily political, but it's just depiction of journalism
Yeah.
that I liked.
Bombshell was good. She Said was better. That's all
Okay.
I'm gonna say.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, but like I think a lot of these shows like probably have just like material that people are using as parody. I don't know if they just I don't know if they know people in it. I'm sure that, like when you're writing a show like loosely based on the Murdoch family, you probably have like some insight into the family and you'll know someone, but I think a lot of it is just like parodied material.
And I feel like you can tell when it's not well researched, or if you're watching a show about journalism, let's say, and you're like, this is so off. Clearly someone who wrote this show has absolutely not even a connection, but not even the vaguest idea.
Not even an idea.
They just wanted to write a show about this. Right. So it's just, I don't know, I feel like you can kind of tell, which makes the good ones really good because...
Right. I can't honestly, because I was trying to think, because I wouldn't have diverse set of opinions. I don't know if there's any, like, bad political shows that I can think of. I don't know, is The Politician bad?
The Politician was actually really good. You should watch that.
Okay.
You guys should all watch that.
Okay, I'll put it on my list. I have so many things to watch. But...
And it's like a Ryan Murphy show, so it's like a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we get, maybe we should get DeMonte in here to do his little explainer for us, shall we?
We shall.
Maybe that will be the bad one. We'll decide. All right. DeMonte, you are being put in the hot seat to explain a show that none of us have seen, and we will decide if it is a good political show or not a good political show from the maybe 2 or 3 sentences you have.
Nice. All right. So the show I have is Designated...
What are we laughing about, guys? Share with the class.
I have a little...
You have a cheat sheet?
Yes.
cheat sheet.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, that's okay.
We're not going to look at it. We're just going to
one-pager was fine.
But yeah, the show is Designated Survivor.
Yes.
It originally aired on ABC, but then it became a Netflix show. But basically, the show is about this low-level cabinet member. His name is Tom Kirkman. I think he was the leader of HUD, like Housing of Urban Developments, and basically, well, yes, that. And it was like the State of the Union, presidents, vice president, Congress gets together, and he was named Designated Survivor, which for our viewers or listeners, and this is the actual thing, every State of the Union address, there is one cabinet member that is selected to be Designated Survivor. In other words, they stay in a hunkered down bunker to where, God forbid, if there was an attack on the U.S. government and the president is killed, vice president's killed, Supreme Court, everyone, they become president of the United States. So he's watching the address, and there was an attack on the Capitol, and everyone was killed. So he became president of the United States. So now he not only had to figure out who was behind like the terrorist attack, but he had to like effectively move into the White House from being like a low-level cabinet member to like commander-in-chief within last few hours.
Wait, is this? And you said this is a real thing.
This is a real thing. Yes.
Wait,
Like the
it's
concept.
actually in
the
concept of designated survivors.
So like whoever
there
gets
is a designated survivor right now.
So like whoever gets elected president will be choosing someone.
Mm-hmm. So
that's so.
It's that, and like. Say for example, I'll use like.
Why are you laughing?
And they live. Sorry, they live in the bunker.
No, well.
All the time.
How do they know when to get down there?
No, wait. So
sorry.
Whenever there is a State of Union address, they don't stay in there.
Okay.
The day or the morning of, they are picked by, I guess, the chief of staff of the president, saying, "Hey, imagine Liz is like HUD secretary." And I'm like chief of staff.
I thought you were gonna say, imagine Liz was president. Like, if we're like in the state, there's like Claire, bunker down.
It's like, Liz, you're a designated survivor. Okay. You're gonna have a Secret Service agent. You're gonna hunker down in a bunker while the address is happening. They stay in there, but again, if it is like some kind of attack on the government, and they become president.
Okay, so it's only during those addresses that they would need to. Okay,
yes.
So we just gotta keep an eye out for who's missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think the last State of the Union address, media networks actually reported on who was the designated survivor,
Who was it?
which I forgot. I forgot.
Keeping the mystery
I
here.
could do like a little.
Maybe next year we'll
No,
like
you said
make
like
our
they were gonna be in a bunker,
picks.
and I was just imagining them like living off of food scraps for 4 years.
Yeah. Like, also, why would you choose a low-level cabinet member if there was going to be a chance that they would be the president? Wouldn't you choose someone who, if God forbid everyone died, you would feel comfortable
Right.
with
So-
moving
Like
into
I'm
that
not
role?
putting. I'm sorry, I'm not
This
putting
is
the
interesting.
HUD guy.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. According to the internet, the last secretary. Oh my God, my mind is it's election day, guys.
Election day, guys.
So the last designated survivor, like for the State of Union address, was Secretary of Education's Miguel Cardona. So
Secretary of Education.
yes,
That guy.
Okay, well, keep him safe. Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Keep him in your thoughts, guys.
When it's like it already happened.
How
like
old
the
is he?
address, he's 49 years old.
Okay,
Okay.
I feel like he could.
It's better
49.
than like what our current like.
Way better, you know.
Yeah.
Way better.
That would be crazy.
But yeah, no,
I
that's,
didn't even know.
I would
Do
say no.
most
Can you
people
say
know?
no?
Yeah, can you be like? I
I'm
don't wanna
not
go
sure.
Not even can. I don't want to
But
go
they-
down,
they
but I don't want to
probably-
become
You probably
president.
wouldn't
down.
want to say
They'd
no.
probably be like, oh, but like the president really wants you specifically.
Right,
you know?
right. But then imagine it happens, and then you have to, and then you have an ABC show.
So I have there's like a little twist that came in the show. You know, like the Tom Kirkman, who's now president.
Right.
The morning he was chosen to be designated survivor, he was set to be fired by the president. So
Wait, then why would the president?
then why would he-
hello?
so it wasn't the president that chose him,
Chief
it
of
was
staff.
his chief of staff. at
Come
the
on,
time.
guys.
So, but yeah, no, he's like set to be like fired,
Scandal.
like canned. And then he became president of the United States. So you're like folks saying, "Oh, you're behind like the attack. You're about to lose your job.
Oh.
You killed the president." of the whole
Whoa, that'd be
government."
crazy.
And
That'd be
so
a
now-
level of pettiness that I don't think that anybody should get to be like.
That's
Yeah.
really. I feel like I need to watch this.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's a
I'm
great
leaning
show.
towards good
Good.
political
Yeah.
show.
It's
You've
a-
convinced us.
Yes, it's a great show. I would say the first 2 seasons, it was on ABC. Absolutely great. Peak television. Season 3, ABC canceled the show, but Netflix picked up, and I don't want to spoil anything, but they just kind of messed up the whole show and was canceled after
Netflix
its
has a
third
tendency to do
season.
that.
Yeah, Arrested
Oh.
Development.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Of.
Arrested Dev-
That makes me so mad. But
you know, yeah, no.
That was so bad.
how did they even find out about the designated survivor? Because that's like not taught in your gov class.
Guys, if you can't find something in your AP Gov class, it doesn't exist.
That's a really good question,
That's
though.
not what I'm saying. But like, I mean, this guy screenwriter, like, how he has.
He must have an
See,
insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
see? How
Yeah.
would you know?
So
and
it
how would you know how to
says-
portray it accurately unless
Mhm.
he interviewed the education
Miguel.
guy? Miguel, yes.
So, you know, just like a definition of designated survivor, and not to like yap on about it, but it's according to Wikipedia, but it says in the United States, designated survivor is a person in the presidential line of succession who's kept distant from others in line when they are gathered together, to reduce the chance that everyone in line will be unable to take over the presidency in a catastrophic or mass casualty event. So,
This is a crazy
I-
thing to learn.
I
yeah.
saw a designated survivor in like the group chat, and I was imagining like the TV show Survivor.
That's what I also thought.
It was,
Ah,
like,
yes, my
related.
favorite political show.
Yeah, and then when you said
Survivor
political, I'm
with
like,
Jeff
Are we
Probst.
sure?
is it like
Well, I
Survivor,
mean, they
like
do have
White
to
House
vote people
edition?
off.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, you know.
Strange democracy there,
True.
maybe.
Yeah, like CBS News had like a whole.
Oh.
We're gonna edit that out. Start from the top. CBS News had like a whole article about like who was the designated survivor for 2024's State of Union address. So, you know,
Check that out, guys.
That's so interesting.
Everyone do your homework on
Well,
this
also-
and watch the show.
check out the state news.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, guys, on political shows in general? You know, what are we thinking?
I think I'm gonna have to start watching some feel-good political shows
Nice.
Yeah.
going forward
I agree.
to de-stress in like a strange way. I think it's kind of interesting that even though they kind of stress us out or are kind of sad, the depiction sometimes. You're like, is this really what it's like? It can also be strangely comforting. I
Yeah,
don't
to
know,
like
it's
know
nice
maybe
to
a
watch
little
them.
bit behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
Like pre-gaming.
Yeah.
Boom.
And that's all we have to say. Let's go pre-game this election.
Yep.
Just kidding, guys.
No,
We're not doing that. We're actually gonna have pizza, and that's it.
pizza.
Pizza and a lot of hopes and dreams. We'll see you next week on Houselights.
Bye.
Bye.